All right, Tyson, well, let me just begin with you. Obviously, during a pandemic, there's a lot of different things for people to pay attention to worry about, but all three of you are in the sports business, and you got that way from youth sports and high school sports and amateur sports. That's actually a big area of concern right now once there is a sense of normalcy that returns. What's the concern for you guys, and what are you trying to do about it?
Yeah, we've partnered up with Coaching Corps, and we're trying to raise awareness for the upcoming need for volunteer coaches in the community to give kids a chance to return to play sports once the pandemic kind of allows things to get back to a sense of normalcy.
Marcus, in your mind, there's probably a lot of things that are part of your foundation that you learned at St. Mary's High School, that you learned at Cal, that you learned even younger than that. How valuable is it to you to make sure that youth sports still happens?
Yeah, it's everything. That was what I looked forward to when I got up every morning as a kid, was playing sports. And if it wasn't for, coaches who volunteered their time to let me be on their team, or just to, provide, just coaching for me, I wouldn't be where I am today. So, for me, it was a lot of my teammates' parents, or just people who took time off of work to, they just sacrifice. That sacrifice is important for young kids, not just kids of color, but all kids, I think. But we'll talk a little bit more about that coming up.
Yeah, and on that note, Marcus, I'll switch to Joe here. I mean, you guys all from the Bay Area, all four of us very familiar with the Bay Area, and we all realize that there are different areas, different regions that probably need this help more than ever. And when life does get back to normal, hopefully it's the funds, hopefully it's the hours of volunteering that coaches do at youth levels to make sure it happens. But I think that's a great point that Marcus brings up there. This is not going to be even. In fact, it's going to be even more disproportionate once things return.
Yeah, I just have so many fond memories, I think, of the experience I had over at Greenman Field playing Oakland Babe Ruth. And I feel like since, I was finished playing there, the league itself has kind of dwindled down a little bit. So I think now, with the extra need for coaching, things like that, it'll be extremely important to kind of get that back similar to where it was, back when we were both younger playing, coming up. And, it'll take a lot of effort from people in the community and people that are willing to, sacrifice time and put in the effort to be, a concerned coach and, be there for these kids.
Tyson, what do you think it is that youth sports are going to need the most in the coming months, hopefully?
I think it's just going to be huge to get coaches out there so that, the participation can happen. I'm hearing that there's going to be massive budget cuts, post-pandemic. And so, in organizations like the, Boys and Girls Club, things like that, maybe they won't have, the paid spots for people to be running those programs. So we need people within the community to step up and really kind of, do their part to give kids a chance to, relive the childhood, great fond memories of playing sports that we were all fortunate enough to have growing up here in the Bay Area.
I was going to say, Marcus, I know you're probably the leader in the clubhouse here in terms of children, 2 boys, and I think a third on the way, right? Congratulations.
That's right.
And I know you're not in the mode of like forcing them eventually to play sports. But I'm sure you probably look at it and say, hey, if they go that route, they can benefit from certain things. What is it that today's young person is going to learn and benefit from that you ultimately see at the professional level?
Yes. I have 2 boys, another boy on the way. So, a lot of times I'm out there with them playing, and it's funny. It comes from when they watch a game on TV, or when they see somebody who, they look up to on TV, it makes them want to go do something outside. So when we watch the MLB playoffs, right after a game, they want to go outside and play. And they're lucky to have dad there right there with them to go throw to them. But a lot of kids don't have that. And, that is something we're looking at here for people to volunteer to help with some of these kids, because they have role models, yes, at the professional level, but when it comes down to it, as a young kid, most of those kids' role models are coaches, and we're looking for the help. And I think that that's going to be something that, especially coming out of the pandemic, that will just get the morale up, especially here in the Bay Area.
Joe, I have a real fear that some youth sports programs and even high school programs, they might just go away after all this is said and done. And it might happen quick. It might happen easier than it should. And that also means it's going to be very difficult to bring them back. Do you share that same concern?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of just questioning and going on and uncertainty on, I guess, what holds for the future. I mean, even as far as kids going back to school on campus and things like that. I think that if there's any chance that, us three or us four or, people that are paying attention, parents, things like that, can contribute to the continuation of sports and things for kids, even at like a very basic youth level. I mean, that'll be huge. I think just as far as the development for kids and, things that I learned at a young age that still apply now to being a professional really in any regard, whether it's playing baseball or just in a workforce, things you've learned about working together and things like that. I think those are all huge to help. I mean, it's good to play sports, but I think it goes beyond the aspect on the field and actually learning certain life lessons. So, it's concerning. Hopefully they do get back to somewhat normal. I have no idea what that'll look like, but, I'm here to help along the way.
One more for Marcus, and then I'll have Tyson close it out. Marcus, you just think about the Bay Area, and a lot of people have the idea it's an affluent place, and there's not going to be any problems. I think there's going to be significant issues that deal with youth sports, that deal with a lot of things, but especially youth sports right in our own backyard.
Yeah, I just think the cost of living is so high that there's a low amount of coaches because they're out working, trying to make a living. So it'll be interesting to see what kind of people sign up, whether it's people who are retired or young people. But for, say a young person to be able to volunteer at Coaching Corps, I think it's just fulfilling just to see a young kid who, may not be great at sports or may not be as interested, but they get into it and they improve. When as a parent, for me, when I see my kids work towards something and improve at something, it's fulfilling to me, and it makes me proud. And I see that with coaches at the major league level as well. Ron Washington's a perfect example of a coach who puts in the effort, and he's really genuinely happy to see another, for me, big league player succeed.
Yeah. And you make such a great point too. I mean, it's always not about making somebody into professional athletes. It's also about making them better at life through sports. But obviously you were able to reach the highest level. All three of you have been. Tyson, I'll close it out with you. A lot of this ties into Coaching Corps, and that's been a great organization for years now. And it's really put a spotlight on how important coaches are to athletes of all levels. So tell me about the link to Coaching Corps here. Tell me about what can people do now that they've heard a little bit about the concern and maybe what's going on, what could potentially happen. What's the action that can take place here?
Currently, we have a social media campaign going on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. You'll see some posts about, sign up now at coachingcorps.org. That's the website. You can go there, check it out. And, even if it's not something that you want to participate in as far as, either donating your time, donating your money, but if you see a post, anything, just share it, like it, kind of spread the word around. And the more people that see it, hopefully we get some people that want to, take advantage of their time off here and kind of give back to the youth. We were all fortunate to grow up in the Bay Area and make lifelong friends and learn lessons through youth sports. And unfortunately right now that's uncertain for the kids. So hopefully, take the time, like it, share it. Some people sign up, and hopefully we can get sports rolling here soon.
Well, the pride of O'Dowd, the pride of St. Mary's of Albany, or is it Berkeley or Albany, Marcus? Albany, right?
Well, I say Berkeley, but half the campus is in Albany. So
there you go. There you
go either way.
Local roots, guys, it was great to talk to you. I think this is very important and really well done on tackling this. Thank you so much for sharing it.
No problem, Brody.
Thanks, Brody.
Thank you for having us.